The ribbons round your garden gay, the sum in colors bright and gay, of every lover that you wanted yet still sent away. And every moment brings a revolution to your waking mind. It's sunny, then it rains again, you see, and then you're blind.
Here's some elements of my biochar making apparatus. I have my biochar maker in the background there, a fireplace insert, wood stove, and I have a fan that blows air under it, through, around the back and up out the front. Also a fan, a heat-powered fan that will distribute the heat in the house. The idea is an ecological adventure, trying to keep carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere by keeping the furnace from turning on. I'm using wood, which will renew itself, or will be renewed as people grow more trees, and I can keep the carbon out of the air that way. Over time, I'm putting carbon in the air, but overall, it's a circulating carbon rather than carbon that's permanently in the ground, like the gas or oil or coal or whatever else I might heat with. So, the biochar thing, which is the main purpose of this, I move around. There's a lot to think about. So anyway, here's my stove. What I do is when it gets full, I basically shovel it out. And there you go. And when it's all burned down into ash and I can't burn any more wood, then I shovel it out and I put it over here. And that's a metal bucket. And put the hot coals in there and the burned out ash. Then I take it immediately outside and quench it by flooding it with water, and that puts out all the charcoal and keeps it from burning on through to total ash. And then I can use that charcoal. I strain it with hardware cloth, as I said, and then that gets it down to chunks. Then I take and I pound it up and I treat it. I usually treat it. I'm treating it before I pound it up. By soaking it in compost tea and maybe some nitrogen. I'll show you what I did in a few minutes. Okay, we've got our pump in the pond, and we're sucking stuff up out of the pond and catching it in the bucket. It's goop from the bottom of the pond, so it's heavy organic material that would actually probably hurt the pond in the winter, hurt the fish, because it would use up all the oxygen. So what we're doing is we're catching it in the bucket, and then I'm going to pour it over a barrel of charcoal that we're treating with this stuff. Okay, now I've got the bucket full of this gooky water, and I'm going to pour it. Now, inside that gunny sack is some of my homemade charcoal that I made from my stove. I would take the ash out and then quench it with a hose, and it would make the charcoal. And then I bought two 40-pound bags of charcoal that are down in the bottom. So I'll show you what the charcoal looks like. Maybe I will. Yes. Okay. That's what the charcoal looks like out of my stove. Okay. Turn it off. Okay, I got my charcoal here that has been soaking overnight. It's in the upper 30s right now, temperature-wise. This charcoal's been soaking overnight in this pond water that I'm hoping will fill some of the sites on the charcoal, on the carbon molecules, so that it won't take all the nitrogen out of the soil when I put it in there, so it won't be available for our plants. So what I'm attempting to do is empty out this bucket. I'm going to try to put a pump in the bottom, and I'm going to circulate compost tea through this whole mess. Okay, don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. Okay, here's my circulation setup to try to get this stuff to move past all the charcoal as well as I can. I've got a pump way down in the bottom of this charcoal-filled 55-gallon drum, or 50-gallon drum. I'm not sure how big it is. And then in here you can see the water circulating around. So it's coming up out of the bottom and then going down through the top. So it's getting circulated with air, and which is really nice. At least at this portion of the thing. So, and now I've got some compost tea that I've been brewing all night, and I'm just going to pour it in over the top, and hopefully it will all circulate through, and we'll get plenty of the carbon sites filled with nitrogen and other organic molecules. So that's what I'm hoping. We'll see. Okay, this is the compost tea that I've been brewing all night, 5 gallons of it. And you can see here, I used some kelp meal. I got some filtered water and made the brew with kelp meal, molasses, and compost tea starter that I got from Peaceful Valley. And then I threw into it some compost from the garden, some worm compost, and some windswept worm farm compost, worm compost, and some leaf mulch compost from lawn core. Alright, here we are with our Terra Preta experiment, our biochar, charcoal in the soil. Here's our charcoal. We moved it over into this barrel, took the sledgehammer here, and we go up and down in the barrel and smash the charcoal into smaller pieces so it will be small enough to go in the soil. Then over here we've set up a kind of a straining operation where we get the particles down to 1/4 of an inch or smaller, and that stuff will be ready to put on the soil or in the soil. So, thank you, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Well, our charcoal still has moisture in it, so it's not a real dusty process, which is probably more healthful and good. I'm glad we did that. Now, over here, we have a bucket full now of the pieces that didn't make it through, so I'm just going to take those back and try to beat them to death with the sledgehammer and make them finer so they will go through the sieve. Okay, here's our setup. I don't know whether the wind's going to blow on the mic. And so it looks like this is pretty effective. It's time consuming, but and here's the stuff that we get, fine grain. It's really nice. I think I can use that in the soil. So this is ready for a bed.